Radiant Tale. When I first saw the cover and realized it was based on circus setting, I immediately thought, nope, not for me. The circus theme just didn't click. I figured this game would be all about circus life, and honestly, I thought, that's gonna be boring. But no, it's not what I, or maybe you, might expect. They took a completely different approach, and it is so much better than that. Big shout out to my friend Sarah Yuya for recommending this game, and she also has a YouTube channel, so go and check her out. And really, without her, I would never have discovered this hidden gem. So let's dive into my Radiant Tale review and find out if this game is for you or not. Heart Fluff XL, where romance meets Nihongo. For that, if you like visual novel or Otome games, or if you want to learn Japanese with Otome games and experience some heart fluffy romance, I suggest you to subscribe to this channel and follow my Twitch because I live stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. First, let's start with the story. The story centers on Tifalia, who spends her days keeping customers happy at the inn where her aunt works. One day, she meets a group of people who call themselves a circus. Their mission: to melt the prince's frozen heart by performing in 5 major towns, spreading enough happiness to bloom a magical flower called the flora that could save him. Yeah, it feels so magical, right? Tifalia, of course, is dragged into this chaotic theme as their producer, tasked with pulling off a great show. Why? Because, let's be real, the circus members are a total mess. We've got an overhyped dragon, a cold-hearted clown who isn't even funny, a water creature who won't use his water magic, an acrobat who terrifies people, a drunk furball, and a leader with zero motivation. Tifalia, who has never stepped outside her small world, wonders if she should join. But with her family's encouragement, she takes the lead. What happens next? What secrets will they uncover in those 5 towns? And can they pull off a performance with such a quirky mix of characters? That is for you to discover. Okay, when I first started the game, it immediately gave me strong JRPG and farming sim vibes. Like the atmosphere feels so cozy and nostalgic, like something that takes you back to simpler times. Even the opening scenes are so heartwarming. It is such a beautiful way to kick things off. Honestly, this is the first Otome game that's ever given me this kind of vibe. Maybe it's because I've played a lot of JRPGs and farming sims? Anyway, now let's meet the allies. First, I start with Sephora. Sephora is the classic blunt, cold guy who doesn't trust others easily, which makes it so interesting to watch him slowly soften towards the MC. But let me tell you, he is a tough nut to crack. But when you finally manage to crack it though, it feels like discovering a hidden treasure. The way he tries to hide his feelings is so adorable. Like his kindness, I can't. It's just too much. I love him so much. What's even better is how his kindness is shown in such a unique, refreshing way. It's not your typical kind of sweet, but that's what makes it so special. And his voice though, his deep voice is so good. I just found another PA to obsess over.
仲良しごっこをするために参加しているわけじゃない。
And guess what? It's the same PA who voiced Ryuki. I didn't even realize it at first. In short, everything about him is perfect from head to toe. I especially love how they portrayed Safar's backstory. It's escalated perfectly and keeps you hooked the entire time. And as for the romance, if you have watched my latest video, you already know what I consider to be the ideal of romance. For Sephora's Root, I could feel their love radiating throughout the story. And let me tell you, this was a big discovery for me. I absolutely love how their love was so strong even when they were far apart. This approach feels so different and refreshing, and it shows that romance doesn't always have to be face to face, and you can still feel the connection. And when they finally get all lovey-dovey, my heart couldn't take it and went up for a blush like I was screaming, guys. But I will let you discover those moments for yourself. I think I already told you my impression enough. Aside from the romance, their friendship with the other members is chef's kiss. The dynamic is top notch and I enjoy it so much. So my final ranking for this route is an S. I'm not gonna lie, I still need more lovey-dovey Sapphire moments and more of him blushing. But the story progression, the depth of their love, and the way the romance develops really satisfied me. Thank goodness it has FD, cause seriously, I cannot wait to dive into it. Now, to the next one, Pashalia. When you first see Pashalia, he seems like this graceful, gentle-looking Eli. But then, surprise, he has a deep voice that perfectly complements his looks.
励ますつもりが逆に励まされちゃった。
I was immediately drawn to him. Even when Pashalia gets angry, it is so good. His expressions, his voice, the duality is just amazing. Right from the start, there's this mysterious side to him that made me so curious. I had to know what he was hiding. And to my surprise, is actually pretty straightforward. I didn't expect that at all. It's like he's so innocent yet honest. I think innocent and honest is the best way to describe Pasalia. Of course, he has his own struggles too, but when you see things from his perspective, it all makes sense. And honestly, I love him even more because of it. Their love story absolutely beautiful. The way it unfolds, Chef's kiss, when he finally confessed his love to her. You have to see it. And their ending, perfect and perfect and perfect. I love Pashalia and I'm rating his story as a triple S and Pashalia himself as an S rank. I want to rate him triple S too, but I feel like that's a bit too high for now, so let's see what happens in the FD. And next is Eon, a scary kudere with a great physique and impressive martial arts skills. Honestly, I don't usually like kuderes that much. They tend to have straight faces and lack expressive emotions. But with Eon, it's not as bad as I expected.
自分はこれでも自覚している。武器を振るうしか能がない男だと。
In fact, I ended up loving him. At first glance, Eon seems like a serious guy, but is actually super caring, even though he doesn't really understand how the world works. That's what makes him so funny. Ian's story is also really interesting. It hooked me as always. If you prefer story-driven routes, you might notice that Ian's story feels simpler compared to others. It's not super deep because it also focuses on side characters, not just him. But honestly, it's not unnecessary. It all ties in nicely and feels needed. Learning about Eon's backstory made me feel so many emotions. And once again, the friendship in this road didn't disappoint me. I was so touched, I hope I can have that kind of friendship someday. It is so heartwarming, even with the simplicity of the story. When you combine Ian's feelings, his backstory, and his adorable data side, it totally deserves an S rank for the overall route. Now we go to the most handsome boy in the game, Radhi. This cute furry ball who turns into a human. Radhi has always been by Tefalia's side since she was a child, so no wonder he can read her like a book.
ほんと、いつまで経っても世話焼けるよな。
He knows when she's in love, sad, mad, basically everything. And how he's always there for her, oh, it's just so sweet. His human form though, it's so handsome. And their romance scenes, Doki Doki overload. I gotta say, at first his story was so freaking interesting, but after that confession scene, it just got tedious and kind of awkward. And then there's this crazy revelation that shocked me, but the way they wrap it up, no comment. There were so many random moments that made me raise my eyebrow. Eventually, I understood where the writers were going with it, but I couldn't help asking, did it really have to be like that? Like, give me back the well executed storytelling from the other roots, please. Maybe the writers were tired or lazy? Honestly, I prefer Radhi and Tifalia's relationship in the other roots. But even with this, I can hate Radhi. The only good thing in his root was his handsomeness, the lovey-dovey moments, and his CGs. It's obvious that he is special just by looking at his CG. Okay, my final rank for Radhi's root is a C. Sorry, but it's because story and pacing is one of the most important aspects to me. It's ranked a little lower. It's not Roddy's fault though. It's the writer's fault. He didn't deserve this. And last but not least, Filio, who unexpectedly turns out to be a mighty dragon. Like a dragon, really, with this cute, adorable face.
これからよろしくな。いろいろ教えてもらうの楽しみだ。
Yes. Honestly, when I first saw the trailer, he was the least interesting ally for me. I wasn't super excited to romance him because, yeah, he's a Genki type, and that's not exactly my thing. But then those moments came. Seriously, Filio started catching my eye so much more in Pashalia's truth. Like the way he was so sharp and firm, like such a different side of him. And even more in Eon's truth. From being the least interesting, he turned into the most anticipated route for me. I was so hyped to play his route that waiting for it felt like a torture. Since his route is locked, so you need to wait until the end. And Filio has so much to bear, and I really felt for him. I get it. There's one moment in his truth that I enjoyed so much. Of course, I can spoil it because it gives too much spoiler, but honestly, that scene is the best scene in the entire game. Their love feels so strong in his truth. Like you can really feel it, guys. But now, here's the thing. At first, I said I couldn't wait to play Filio's route because he made me fall in love with him in the other routes. But when I finished his route and looked back on it, it felt like it wasn't what I imagined it would be. My high expectations weren't fully met. I felt only unsatisfied with how they ended things in his route, especially the endings. It felt rushed, like they wrapped it up too fast. So, for overall route enjoyment, I would give it a B, mainly because of that amazing scene. But in Filio's route, there are solutions to other problems that felt way too easy. Like, this is it? That's all? But okay, still, Filio is the poster boy for a reason. For Filio himself, I've decided to rank him S, but that's because I'm combining my impressions on him from other routes and his own. Thank goodness he impressed me in the other routes. Okay, so let me give you my conclusion and my general thoughts. I can confidently say Radiant Tale is a good game. I truly enjoyed the story and romance in the first three routes. Well, Radhi and Filio had their moments too, but they weren't as memorable as the first three. Like the art though, especially the background CGs. They are so beautiful. The last time I was in awe like this was with Matsurika CGs. Radiant Tail CGs looks like a paintings, hand-drawn masterpieces. I've never screenshotted a background CG before, but this game, it's the first time. Now, will I get the fan book? Should be. Okay. Radiant Tail really focus on its art. They add little details that makes it so easy to get immersed in the story. The CG movement and interactions are so perfect. I was even surprised that the circus performances they put on in each town were different. At first, I thought it would just be the same thing over and over, but nope, it is super interesting. And I also love how they show all the CGs during their circus performance. Honestly, if you want visuals that will satisfy you, Radiant Tail is the answer. Every single CG left me in awe. Their circus performances felt like they came straight out of fairy tale. I think I understand why everyone says this game feels like Disney because the magical vibes, the way it makes you feel enchanted. Oh, and the chibi art. It is so freaking cute. I've always loved these artist chibis and they never disappoint. And did I mention the soundtracks? Each ally has their own specific theme. Isn't that crazy? Out all of them, I like Pasalia's theme the most. It is so calming yet sad at the same time. Even our MC is freaking amazing. I love her from the beginning, and I think it's because she reacts the same way as I would. And the way she expresses herself, her true honest feelings, and how she handles the boys, oh my, I love her. I've gotta say, Tifalia is the best MC ever. She doesn't beat around the bush or drag out her feelings. She just tells the boys straight to their faces. And thank you, Tifalia. After dealing with so many MCs who drag stuff like that, I can't stand it anymore. She just saves the day. And the highlight of this game is, of course, the warmth of their friendship. I love it so much. The way they keep supporting each other is just beautiful. I usually don't care much about side characters, but Radiant Tail made me change my mind. I love them all. What I really like about this game is how unpredictable the story is. You can never guess how they will approach the ally story or how things will unfold. It keeps you hooked. Well, at least for the first three birds. The others didn't hook me as much, but still. Who would I recommend this game to? I recommend this game if you love visually stunning Otome games full of fantasy and lore, magical Disney-like vibes, JRPGs, heartwarming friendship and found family tropes, emotional love stories with clear development, and fluffy character-driven narratives. However, I wouldn't recommend if you don't like fantasy at all. Prefer realistic stories, want lots of steamy moments, physical touch, or intense emotional tension in your romance, and you want a dark, dramatic story. That is my review of Radiant Tail. To wrap it up, I would say Radiant Tail is the perfect Otome game to heal your heart after playing those cruel, depressing Otome games. So, will you give it a try? Or if you have already played it, what are your thoughts? And also let me know what is your go-to fluffy game. Share in the comments below and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!